With me now is Liberal Senator James Paterson. First to the issue of party reform. Angus Taylor last night on Sky News was arguing the case once again. Says for the government to win the next election, you need to undertake this sort of reform in New South Wales. I believe your party in Victoria has already undertaken this. Should they be pursuing this quickly?
Good morning, Kieran. Look, I'm reluctant to wade too much into the internal affairs of another division of the Liberal Party, but very happy to talk about the experience that we've had here in Victoria with the plebiscite model. It was introduced about 10 years ago, and it's worked, I think, very successfully in Victoria and is something that we're all very proud of and we think works well, and led to some really good renewal in our federal parliamentary ranks particularly, and a whole raft of newer, younger, energetic, really talented people into the parliament. I think that's been a really good thing. But what I would say is that the model of choosing your candidates is not a be-all and end-all. On its own, it doesn't guarantee that you have a successful political party. Just as important is things like the internal culture of a political party, and if the internal culture isn't a healthy, vibrant one, then any system is not going to work well. So that's almost as important as it is in getting the method right itself.
Paul Kelly reports in the Australian today. Tony Abbott has told him yesterday the issue of energy is the best hope for the government to win the next election. He's calling for a rethink on the Paris targets. And as Paul Kelly writes today, Mr Abbott sees the energy crisis not so much as a problem, but as a political opportunity to save the government. What do you make of his latest contribution there?
Well, I agree, and I think all my colleagues agree, that the Labor Party's absolute indifference to the damage that they've done to the energy system, both at the state and federal level, by making it unreliable, insecure and really expensive, and the impact that has on households and businesses.
So the coalition's
is a huge
had nothing to do with
opportunity
that?
For us. Well, no, we do have some responsibility, Kieran, but it's a huge opportunity to us to point out the huge difference between us and the Labor Party on this issue. We actually take the issue of cost and reliability deadly seriously. We've seen Labor state governments that have totally thumbed their nose at that don't take that problem seriously at all, and that are oblivious to the consequences of their own policies which have led to that. So it is an opportunity at the next election to highlight those differences between us and the Labor Party.
But you also need to end the uncertainty, don't you? And the irony of Mr Abbott's prescription is that it would continue that uncertainty.
Well, ending the uncertainty is something that only the two parties together can do. It's not something that the coalition can do on our own, because if we propose let's say, for example, hypothetically, a clean energy target, and the Labor Party doesn't support that, or if they only support it tokenistically and they say when they get into government they're going to change it or they're going to add an emissions intensity scheme on ETS, that certainty that an investor in the energy industry needs in order to get a return on their investment over a 30-year time frame is gone. So no one's going to build any baseload, reliable power, cheap power, if the threat of a future Labor government exists and the threat of them smashing their business model with a tax exists. So we have a shared responsibility.
The same can be said of investment elsewhere if you keep changing targets and emissions goals and so on. But we're out of time. Senator Paterson, thanks very much for that. Quick break, back in just a moment on AIM Agenda.